Hello, hello, welcome guys. Good morning, good afternoon, happy Monday. We made it. It's the start of the week again. I hope you guys had a really good weekend. And big thank you again to Snowed Up who joined me yesterday. That was a heck of a lot of fun. Hope you guys are doing well. Um, I'm going to touch again on this Masters of the Universe, kind of give my perspective on things. But before we go into it, let me say hello to everybody. Let's see who we've got. We've got Perez. Good morning. Canadian Spider-Man. Good to see you. Eric K. Welcome. Snorterpoopers Cuba. Good to see you. We've got the Bash Brothers, Chris and Mark. Hello, guys. Welcome. Big hello to Punk Waddle. Hello, Dave Bob. Good morning, sir. JPRPH1. Hello, love. Good to see you. Big welcome to Jin Wong. Good to see you always. Lord Thruff. Hello. Let's see who else has joined us. We've got Pod Racing Palpatine. Good afternoon, love. Hey, Storyman Jack. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. And hello, Deepwood Martin. Hello, love. Good to see you as well. Let's see who else we've got. Let me scroll up, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Oh, we've got a super sticker. If it'll show. There we go. From Mr. Buttcrack. Thank you, sweetheart. Let me just see what that was. It was... I have no idea. I can't find it. Oh, it's a rose. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Always good to see you. I hope you're having a good day. And hello, Speak for the Dead, Geek Inside. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Hope you're having a good one. And Firefly. Hello, Firefly. Welcome. Good morning. 70s rock fan says, hail purple, hail chat, hail to you too. And hello, low spec Linux laptop and pop culture archivist. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. Yep, as everyone knows, the trailer for Master of the Universe Revelation has dropped. Kind of what we expected. I mean, we've all seen what the animation was going to look like. Because we've seen the stills that were released. I don't think anyone's complaining about the animation style. It's, again, from Powerhouse Studios, and we know they're going to do a fantastic job of it because the characters look lovely. They really do. Really digging some of the designs. I think Skeletor looks great. I like the kind of oversized look that they've given He-Man. Not so much the oversized look that they've given the ladies, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Oh, hello, guys. I see everyone piling in. Welcome. Good to see you. But what I'll do, let me pull up the trailer and I'll pull up a couple of, I won't play it, but I can pull up a couple of bits that did make me smile. So let me get this started. I'm not going to have the sound on, obviously, because we'll get hit. But how gorgeous that is. Castle Grayskull looks amazing, as always. And again, I mentioned it earlier, they played this power ballad. Yep, the power. I'm really loving this transformation. The only thing I didn't like was this. Because the first thing that I thought of when I saw this was Sailor Moon. So that kind of made me laugh. I was like, really? I can't be the only one that kind of went there with that. But I can let that slide. That's not too bad. But loving the designs of the characters. I mean, they look fantastic. I think obviously it's going to be very action-packed. There we have it, Masters of the Universe Revelation. And other people have pointed out that it doesn't have anything to do with He-Man in the title. And I think now we know why. And Pop Culture Archivist, they're going to pull the switch, I'm telling you. That is what people are thinking. It's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Kevin Smith claimed to be a huge fan, and he certainly would have been in the right age group to have grown up watching He-Man and She-Ra and all these other kind of classic 80s cartoons. But as we've seen, and as we've seen from the synopsis that's been released, that's possibly not going to be the case, unfortunately. And he has come under fire for it. You know, a lot of people, they saw the trailer and they're saying, hold on a second, you know, this is supposed to be about Masters of the Universe, it's supposed to be about He-Man fighting Skeletor, all that good stuff as it was in the 80s. So why does Teela have such a huge role in this? What is it that she's going to do? And with synopsis being released, we now know that He-Man loses and he is cast out, and it's up to Teela to find the Sword of Power and reunite the two together, because without Sword of Power, there is no He-Man, of course. And hello, guys, I see you all popping in. Welcome. Hope you're having a good one. But yeah, so let me just have a look, see what Kevin Smith responded to. So he's been feeling a little bit of criticism from the fans. You know, people were expecting one thing, and once again, we've had expectations subverted, you could say. And so he's responded kind of defensively on Twitter to a lot of people. So one of the tweets he responded to, he said, um, a fan said, some people are calling the show woke. Kevin Smith responded by saying, if by woke, in quotations, folks mean the female characters have agency, then Revelation is exactly as woke as the cartoon to which our series is a spiritual sequel. Because Teela and Evelyn were in every episode fighting along He-Man and Skeletor, and the sorceress is more powerful than all of them. And that is true. The sorceress was always one of the most powerful characters. That's, you know, and she guards Castle Grayskull. That's why Skeletor was always after, trying to conquer Castle Grayskull and beat Sorceress. But it was always He-Man that thwarted him. Teela was certainly a very important character in the 80s cartoons. She always stood by him. She was very capable, but so were all the other characters. Characters like Orko, even though he was comic relief, he still could save the day from time to time. Man-at-Arms was a very important character as well, and he's obviously in Revelations because we've seen him in the trailer, which I'm kind of looking forward to. But Kevin Smith seems to have been kind of caught out in a lie as well. He claimed that he was always a huge fan of He-Man growing up. It's something that he watched when he was a child. And someone dug up a tweet where he says, about 10 years ago, I was never a fan. So he kind of got caught out there as well, which was kind of funny. And hello, Larry, good to see you. And Psychodorf, good to see you. It says, and we can't have a white male as a hero. A phallic-shaped item of power is patriarchal. Yeah. But is it though, if now Teela's after it? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Let's see what else you guys are saying. And hello, Storyman Jack, welcome. He says, rise and shine with Purple Valkyrie. The thing about He-Man was that they created this with one purpose. They couldn't afford Conan, so they created an amazing universe that's about to be destroyed. Agreed. This is definitely I suppose you could call it an homage to Conan. Skeptical people will say it was created just to sell the toys. The toy line actually came first, and then they had to make up this story based on these characters. But it's become a cult, phenomenon. It was one of the biggest cartoons of the 80s. We had, merchandise that you would not believe. I've still got a lot of the 80s toys that are up on my shelf at the moment. And I've recently actually started buying the retro line that's been released, which I love as well. So the merchandise is still going strong for this, even so many years later. But it became something more than selling toys. people loved this series, and it was one of the first series as well that ever showed a moral story at the end. I think G.I. Joe did it as well. So you'd always get this kind of, at the end of every episode, this little life lesson that the characters would teach you. And hello, PJ Maybe, good to see you. Andrew 46 and 2, welcome. And Kevin Smith is way older than me, and I watched it as a kid. Why do the timelines even line up? Yes, that's what he said. He said it is a successor, so literally as the 80s one ends, this is where the new Revelation picks up. I would be very curious to see if that's the case, to be honest, because in the intervening time we've had several other He-Man cartoons. We've had animated films, and we've had that live action film with Dolph Lundgren as well, which we don't talk about. And Jim Wong, that song would only work if Tila was wearing a Walkman playing cassettes. Uh, Playing the cassette soundtrack of Footloose. I agree. I think they chose that song purely just for kind of an 80s nostalgia. It's a power ballad, you know, people recognise Bonnie Tyler. But it did make me smile because if this story is Tila's story, they picked a song that's I Need a Hero, which is kind of odd. Let's see what else you guys are saying. I think the film was cheesy. Fun it was. I enjoyed it. I've got to admit, I thought it was pretty fun. And hello, Pod Racing Palpatine. People told me to invest in 80s toys. I wouldn't regret it. Unless misheard and bought 80 toys. In unrelated news, car boot sale this weekend. I've got a lot of the 80s toys, as I say, and some of them are pretty expensive now. If I'd known then what I knew now, I would have got my parents to buy 2 of each and kept one in the box. Oh well, never mind. That movie we don't talk about, it's 10 times better than what we're going to get here. I've got a feeling you might be correct, like Spoke Linux Laptop. I'm really, really, really hoping that this isn't going to be the case. Really hoping that it's going to be something that we can enjoy. I did notice on Twitter as well, the people that are the fans of the rebooted She-Ra cartoon were kind of taking shots at this as well, saying, you know, She-Ra did it first, She-Ra did it better, the animation style was better. And to be honest, Netflix didn't help themselves because they kind of stoked the fire between these two fan bases that seem to be butting heads at the moment, even though it's all within the same universe. And hello, good morning, Miss Lighty Cyclops. Good to see you. And Jim the Viking, good afternoon, welcome. Too Much 77, and they want to do the Tila show. Just do it, don't call it He-Man, and let it fail or succeed on its own merits. Exactly. For them to do this and to, you know, to get people hyped up, to have this animation style, to have it done by Powerhouse Studios, which people love because they love the Castlevania series, which was done by them as well. And then this release comes out and says, it's not quite what you guys are going to expect, but this is what we're going to give you instead. And hello, Joel Reyes. Welcome. Thank you very much, sweetheart. Let me see what you sent. We have got new. Hi. Good to see you. Welcome. Thank you very much for your super sticker. Thank you, sweetheart. And Jin Wong, it says, for the longest time, the Mandela Effect, the fried chicken scene from Masters of the Universe with Star Trek 4 was totally convinced that Kurd was eating KFC and Uhura fought with Blackberry. I remember that scene. She was confused as to why the food was on little sticks, and I think it was an aunt that pointed out that they're actually rib bones. That was pretty funny. And Psycho Dwarf. So you're saying they've pissed off the purist and the wokesters? Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of fun to watch at the moment on Twitter. Um, as I say, so there's these two big fan bases. Obviously, fans behind the rebooted She-Ra. They love the show. I think it's the greatest thing ever. I watched a couple of episodes, wasn't impressed. It just wasn't for me. Um, I didn't hate the animation style, but I just didn't like the characters or the direction that it seemed to be going. And to be honest, as much as I like She-Ra, He-Man was almost my favourite of the two anyway. But they seem to be determined to kind of pull this down, and they're kind of stoking the fires, and people are saying, well, it's two very different shows. Uh, and they even complained that maybe the budget is so much higher for this He-Man cartoon. Why didn't She-Ra have the budget to do this beautiful animation style instead? And can we have it redone? Or can we have a crossover? That's the other thing that seems to be being pushed at the moment, which should be interesting. And Max Santiago, good morning to you. He says, good morning, beautiful shield maiden. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. And Rookie, good morning. Good morning, Rookie. Good to see you. Let's see. So what happens if it's a bait and switch and either fan base will be happy? If either fan base is happy, then great. But the way that these things seem to go is that it's new fans that they're after. That's what they're after. They've hit on a lot of nostalgia points for people that grew up watching these cartoons in the 80s, who had the toys, who remember playing with them, who read the comics. Again, the character designs are quite close. It looks very much like the one that was done in the early 2000s as well, which is also a really good He-Man cartoon. But again, they seem to be banking on this new generation of fans that they can entice. They seem to have done really well so far with the merchandise that's coming out. I've seen a lot of the toys. They look pretty cool. They're a little bit bigger than the standard size. So I think the usual standard size is about 6 inches tall, the figures. These ones are a little bit bigger. But having seen what's going to be released, there's a few that I'm definitely going to pick up. One of the figures that was announced is a massive spoiler as well for what's coming. So that was kind of odd that they would release it, but we'll see. And Storyman Jack says, by catering to new fans that don't exist, they lose money almost every time. It's definitely a gamble that a lot of companies seem to be willing to take at the moment. That was another thing that the She-Ra fans complained about, that there was a lack of merchandise. I've looked into this. It wasn't true. There were figures released of all of the characters. They just didn't sell. So they didn't stay on shelves very long. And Psychodraw says Wokesters don't buy anything and they're ticking off OG fans. It's Chernobyl. It certainly feels like that sometimes, doesn't it? I just saw a really good comment. There it is. Ada says, I can't keep up with Masters of the Universe action figures. It seems like they've been released at least 6 times over the last 35 years. Oh, more, Paris. There's so many. There's been reboots. There was the original lines. There's special edition lines. There's box sets. There's anniversary editions. There's ones that are about $75 each. That are about yay big, really, really detailed figures. But this is an IP that's kept going. People really do love Masters of the Universe, and I think it hit a lot of kind of nostalgia points for people to have this back, and a lot of people are very excited about it. When I first heard it was announced, I was excited about it. And hello, Ponquaro. He says, the biggest fallacy about people who spend all the time online sharing their opinions and arguing is that they actually go out and invest in the real world, even though it keeps being proven wrong. Absolutely. If you take Twitter for face value, you think that there's a lot of people with very, very strong opinions, and a lot of people seem to think that because they put an opinion on Twitter, it is the be all and end all. It's not the case, unfortunately. And hello, Chris. Chris said Tila could have had her own series about becoming the new sorceress. I think that's possibly where it's going to go. Just I kind of see that coming, unfortunately, which isn't terrible. You know, the sorceress is a very powerful character, and that's a kind of interesting progression for the character, but not. I don't want Tila's story if this is supposed to be He-Man's journey. Only a descendant of King Grayskull can wield the power sword, or is Kevin Smith messing with canon? I think Kevin Smith doesn't really know canon because he lied about being a fan from a child. I think this is just an IP that he thinks might be profitable, and it's something that Netflix have jumped on. And hello, Snowdub, welcome. There he is. Guys, if you didn't see the interview that we did yesterday, check it out because we had a hell of a time. So huge thank you again for him joining me. And Colin nails it. When did canon matter these days? It matters to the fans, most certainly. But we seem to be getting shouted down a lot at the moment. As I said, Kevin Smith took a lot of constructive criticism from people, and he's kind of deflecting and being a little bit I suppose antagonistic would be the way to say it. But this has a huge cast, as we've seen. But the article goes on to say, so in the case of this He-Man series, official descriptions for the show reveal that He-Man loses to Skeletor, and it's all about Teela saving the day. So we see that Teela replaces He-Man. This isn't something new and has been an agenda pushed by Hollywood for years. This has been seen in Star Wars, Doctor Who, Ghostbusters, Birds of Prey, Terminator, and so on and so forth. And I think that's why people latched onto it so quickly, because it is a pattern that we've seen so many times before. It goes on to say Hollywood sacrifices quality content for political correctness. I have no idea what the budget for this show is. I'd be curious to find out. I did try and do a little bit of research, but I can't find an exact figure for how much Netflix has put down for this. I'm also not sure if it's going to be an ongoing series or if it's going to be a one and done. I would imagine it depends on how well the first series goes. But with such a huge cast, I can't imagine it was cheap to make. So there is a little bit of an update. Matt Jarbo, of all people, actually sent Kevin Smith a question. He said, do you have a response to the Teela controversy? I'm wondering if Netflix has a synopsis for the first 5 episodes, and if not, the season as a whole. And Kevin replied, we can't release a synopsis for part 2 without spoiling part 1. So any synopsis out there would be for part 1 only, but our sprawling storyline is so full of twists and turns, I've yet to read an online theory about Revelation that's ever come close to guessing the actual plot. I'm going to say I doubt that, Kevin, because the fans are generally very good when it comes to guessing plots and plot devices. So I think he's trying to save face a little bit there. Voice cast is probably the second best thing after the animated Transformers movie. I would agree with that. I mean, it has a huge cast. I mean, we've got Mark Hamill as Skeletor. I was a little bit skeptical about him, as much as I love Mark Hamill. All I'm hearing just from that little snippet of the trailer is the Joker. So I'm really hoping that he gives him a little bit more of a kind of nasally sounding voice. So we'll kind of that's we'll see with that one. but Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to be Tina. Lena Headey is Eva Lynn, which I'm curious about because I think that's a really good casting. We've even got Alan Oppenheimer as Mossman. So we've even got some of the OG original voice actors coming back to play roles. I personally would have loved to have him come back and play Skeletor, but that wasn't the case, unfortunately. And good morning, Spike in Madness. Good to see you. Isn't Sarah Michelle Gellar cast as Teela? She is. I don't think she would join to be second fiddle to He-Man. No, that is kind of what sent up a lot of red flags for people. Just the size of this cast. I don't think that she would sign on to play a role that's just a bit character. She's either going to be the main protagonist, which it looks like, or nothing at all, I would imagine. Punk Model says, how many parts are in the works? If this doesn't go over well next week, Netflix will cancel it within a month. I don't know. I know it's a full season that they've cast. It's going to be part 1 and part 2. Obviously, will be the main bulk of the story, and then as the series goes on, that's when it will unravel, and we'll follow Teela as she searches for this sword to get it back to Adam so we can finally become He-Man again, which would be great. Smith is probably extremely busy rewriting the second phase to save face. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me at all. That says top 3 favourite characters, not He-Man. Not He-Man or Skeletor. Evelyn. I loved Evelyn. Loved Mossman because he was so ridiculous. And I actually loved Stinkle, the character, because he was used as a really kind of daft comedy. But when they brought out the figure for him, the same as Mossman, they both had these individual scents, which was kind of a fun way to bring these characters alive. I also love Battle Cat. Cringer, I never liked the character, I've got to admit, but I always thought Battle Cat was really cool, and I've got a few Battle Cats up on the shelf. And hello, Max, good to see you. Welcome. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Let me scroll back up. Punkwater says, okay, I guess I'm more thinking how Netflix seems to frown upon things that don't get immediate positive reaction. I think they're banking on the fact that it's done by Powerhouse Studios, which are well respected when it comes to animation. They have a huge voice cast, as we've kind of seen. I think, and also they're going to be banking on fans coming out to support this. But I think now that the synopsis has been released, a lot of people are getting a little bit wary. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed because I really want the show to be good. It's been a long time since we had a decent He-Man cartoon, and I'm hoping that this one will live up to it. I'm going to review it, good or bad, but I really hope that they give us something fun that we can be enthusiastic about. PJ Maybe says, remember these nutcases give second season because it's a success even before the first season is shown. That is true. And Smith has lived in Hollywood too long. He needs to spend some quality time back in New Jersey. It certainly doesn't seem to be doing him very good, does it? Absolutely. Pop Culture Archivist wants to be good too. Absolutely. And Pettis says great choices. Wasn't there a Mosquito guy? There was an action figure, yes. And he's also just been re-released for the retro line, and he looked great. So that's one of the ones. Him and Beastman I don't have at the moment, so I'll be picking those two up as well. I understand the hope is always alive for the fans who have invested and grown up with these IPs. There is, and people will always support it. You know, that's the thing. If you bring back something that people have so much love for and so much nostalgia for, they will come out and support it. And if Kevin Smith had been honest from the start and said, you know what, this, even though it's set in the Masters of the Universe setting, even though it's on Eternia, this time we're not going to focus on He-Man, we're going to focus on Tina and show her story and her progression. I don't think anybody would be having such an issue with it, but now that it's come out and now we're getting closer to release dates, we've had this kind of bait and switch. And hello, Demo Penguin. It says, how is no one talking about Ram Man? Spiking Madness, I hope we don't see Papa go crazy like as with Batwoman. Brace yourself, darling. I will. And honestly, can you imagine me going crazy? I don't do crazy, you know that. And Max, thank you, sweetheart, for your super sticker. Let me just scroll back up and get that, my love. Thank you, darling. Let me see what that one was. It was, she sent us. Oops. It sent us a heart. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. I hope you're having a good day. And brightest day kind of sums it up perfectly. Get woke, get broke. Yes, absolutely. But I know it sounds selfish, but as a fan, I really, really don't want this to be the case. I want something that I can get behind, something that I can enjoy. So hope springs eternal, guys. Oh my gosh. If it does crash and burn, how long before a well-respected studio becomes a was-respected studio? It depends on what else they've got in the works, I would imagine, Colin. As I said, they've done pretty well with Castlevania. The first at least couple of seasons were really, really good. The other season, not so great, but the animation style and the character designs remained strong throughout. It was just the writing that kind of let it down towards the end of the last season. Let's see what else we've got. Chris says, interestingly, IMDb has shown Revelations has 2 seasons. First season has 7 episodes with working titles, including the name for episode 5 of season 2. Okay, so they're actually further ahead with this than I thought. I had a feeling that they would do at least 2 seasons because that's kind of like testing the water with a lot of people, and Netflix don't tend to pick up an IP unless they can get at least 2 seasons out of it as well. I mean, Netflix also had the She-Ra cartoon, which, love it or hate it, I think did pretty well for them. I'm just really glad that they didn't go with that animation style. And it says, worst comes to the worst, it will be maybe 14 episodes long. Okay, I can see that. I think the original, gosh, I'm trying to remember. I know there were kind of 65 episodes per season, if I remember correctly, from Masters of the Universe from the 80s. This this just kept on going and going. And finally fizzled out, I think, when the toys stopped being profitable. When Hollywood finishes burning itself down, we will be there to pick up the pieces. Absolutely. And I know it seems like we complain a lot about IPs being taken over, but things will change, guys. You know, this isn't always going to be the way it is. There is pushback. I mean, there is pushback now online that this information has come out, and it's eventually Hollywood is going to have to wake up and realize that you can't pander to people, you know, and expect them to lap it up. You know, you can go after new fans, but there is no guarantee that they're going to support whatever you bring out, and there is absolutely no guarantee that fans of something such as, you know, Masters of the Universe, such as Star Wars, such as Star Trek, people that have grown up watching these shows are going to support anything new, especially if you don't respect the law and canon, as somebody else mentioned earlier. Mark says Master of the Universe is cool, but let's not forget about the unsung villain. Mojo. Hashtag Mojo matters. It does, absolutely, Mark. You keep reminding people, because I think people forget how much Mojo matters. And hello, sweetheart. Good to see you. I always have trouble pronouncing your name, but let me see if I can get it correct. Zaxus Batillo? I hope that's right. Good to see you. And hello, Keely Cha. Welcome, Roll Tide. Good to see you. The good thing about this now compared to the 80s is that toys can be better detailed and tooled. I'm actually curious as to how much motivation that is for the reboot, since money is always involved. Well, looking at the toys released at the moment, they are definitely high-end collector's pieces that they've released. As I said, one of them is most definitely a spoiler for at least the first two-part episodes that they're going to be released. But they look great. They look very stylized. They look exactly like the characters on screen, which is really cool. And let me see. Let me see if I can find them. If I can find them, I can pull them up for you. Revelation toys. No, I don't think there's been many released at the moment. I think it's mainly kind of like the main characters. Let's have a look. Okay, cool. I can share the screen for you. So this is from Mattel's website. Let's have a look. So Mattel unveils a new Masters of the Universe toy line for the upcoming Revelation. And let me scroll down. So there is our first look at Skeletor. Kind of liking the design, looking pretty evil, which is kind of cool. As I say, these are pretty big toys. They're bigger than the retro line that's been released. Actually really like the look of Mossman. He looks really cool on this. So this is Evil Lyn, again, with the huge guns. Not quite sure what that's about. If I got that figure, I'd be really, really tempted to see if it was possible to take these arms off and replace them with something else. But other than that, I quite like her design. I really like head. I've always liked that kind of headpiece that she wears. But damn. Let's see what else we've got. I know that's the one that's the spoiler, which I'm not going to go into. And there is one that I'm actually interested in, which is Battle Cat. And that is one mean looking Battle Cat. Let's stop that. There we go. So I think she's yeah. Why is she built like a lineman? Okay. Like she's got guns for days. She really does. I've got nothing against, fit-looking women, but that's looking a little bit ridiculous. They don't have bulging biceps. It just doesn't happen. And Psychodwarf says, with arms like that, they've only got one mold, one set. I know. I would love to be able to kind of take them off, because the original characters, they didn't do that. Actually, one second, guys. Let me turn this camera off, and I can grab one of the nearby characters, and I can show you exactly what she looks like. There we go. There we go. Turn this back on so I don't drive mad. There we go. So there is the original Evil Lyn. No giant guns on her. I mean, she was thick, but that's okay. But, yep. Love this figure. I've always liked this character. She's one of my favourites. You guys are still going on about her arms. And hello, Project Storytime. Welcome. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day, sweetheart. And Giddy says female bodybuilders are not that buff. It's weird, isn't it? It is such a strange design. I mean, I can kind of see that looking okay. Um, but because she's still quite slim, they've still given her the hourglass shape, but she's got these massive guns, and so does Steeler. I don't quite see what the thinking behind that is. And Joel Reese, when you said guns, I thought boobs. These girls are more jacked than He-Man. Well, Steeler will be because there is no He-Man. That's what we're trying to get to. There is no He-Man because we're trying to get the sword back to him, and without the sword, Adam cannot turn into He-Man. And JM Cruz, hello. He says, look at those guns. Exactly. So it's not just in the cartoon that they've done this, they've done it with the figures as well. Which is it's an interesting way to go about it, to say the least. Oh my gosh, guys. Love to I like big butts and I cannot lie, but not big guns. And Stephen Martins, can we see your Skeletor t-shirt? Sure, hold on. Let me see if I can stand up. I got shorts on, but I don't think you can see. Here you go. Just as a Skeletor skull face. There we go. And hello, Jedi Bill. Welcome. Good to see you. Women built like bodybuilders are not my taste. I would be inclined to agree, Mark. It's so very odd, and they look completely out of proportion. If you look at them on the stills that were released, the bottom half looks fine and feminine, but then you get to these arms and they look just angry, and I always hated that. Snowtop says Skeletor is a friend of mine. I can hook you up. LOL. I love Skeletor. He's one of my favorite characters. Um, Definitely one of my favorite characters from the 80s. Obviously, you've got Megatron, Mumra, the big three, but I was gravitated towards Skeletor. I just thought it was funny. That's all. And Too Much 77 says, what the new Expendables will look like in 15 years. Sadly, I can kind of see that. So I don't disagree at all with that one. The creators of this rendition is really fun. They seem to have more soy than the characters they created. It does seem to be a very odd way to do it. I know people have kind of brought up the idea that it's about bringing strong women and girls need these strong female role models, but you don't bring in a strong female role model and make her look jacked. It's silly. Tina was always a strong female role model, so was She-Ra, and both of those characters looked feminine. So was the Sorceress, one of the most powerful characters on Eternia. Very few could ever take her down. Skeletor couldn't do it, or Dak couldn't do it. Hello to Mexican Iron Man. Let me just get this. Some guys here. Hello, good to see you. It says, isn't Orko jacked as well? Orko's a very odd design. Orko's got kind of wiry, thin arms with long claws, but they've got these really huge, almost feminine-looking eyes that they've given him. And that when the character was first released, I thought, oh, maybe this is the female version, because there are female versions. But no, apparently this is actually Orko, as seen in the trailer. And hello, Pappy. He sends to say $4.99 super chat. Thank you. It says, "Excuse me, Snowdub. You won't be hooking up with Purple and any dude. Period. Maria will not stand for this." Thank you, Mexican Iron Man, defending my honor. Storyman Jack asks, "What's wrong with femininity? Do the guys in the studios like women from Soviet's swim team?" It does seem odd, doesn't it? I mean, growing up, I never had a problem with any of these characters. I watched all of these and I loved them all. I was always a big fan of He-Man because he was the star of the show. I never once needed Teela to be anything more than what she was. She was a very capable character in her own right. She didn't need to be pushed into the centre. She didn't need to have He-Man pushed to one side and be told to sit in the corner just to elevate her. And that seems to be the way that this particular show is going. I hope we're wrong, but that's what it seems to be going. Um, Colin says, "Isn't it ironic that the anti-masculinity tactic brigade's idea of strong feminine is basically masculine?" Yes, it is. It's kind of a self-defeating argument, really. If you're gonna try and stamp down on masculinity in guys, you don't then transfer it onto the female characters and make them look butch or violent. And all of the one of the big things in the trailer, which I think I've still got, which I might pull back up, there was a fight between Teela and Evil Lynn, which kind of took centre stage, and even this little bit that was supposed to be between Skeletor and He-Man is really, really cut down right to the end of the trailer. Wasn't Teela Adam hinted at love interest? Yes, yes, he was. I know there's some really weird people out there that seem to think that He-Man and She-Ra should be an item, but they need to be made aware that they're actually twins. They're twin brother and sister. So no, guys, that's not a thing that you need to be doing. Let me see if I've still got it and I can pull it back up. I think I've actually closed the tab, but that's okay. But you have to take my word for it, guys. There's this huge fight between Evil Lynn and Teela, and then they again take centre stage. Larry, welcome. He says the trailer is the bait. Yes, that's pretty much going to be a takeaway from this, most definitely. I'd be curious to see if anything else gets released. I'm actually trying to find the release date, but it's probably on the IMDb page. Let's see. And there was one more thing that seemed to have caused controversy, because I did see it on Banding into Comics. People are very confused as to why the chest armor that He-Man wears has changed. No, Kevin Smith, I think if I remember correctly, said it's to do with the battle armor version that was out. But He-Man has always been known to wear a red cross on his chest on the breastplate. No, it doesn't look like this in Revelation. It looks almost like a bat or a H, and people were getting confused. They say, "Well, is this a nod at the Horde? Is it to do with Hordak? Is that something that's being hinted at?" But I don't think that that's the case. I think it's just a really odd design. So he explains. Kevin Smith says, narratively, our show is set up as the next episode in the legacy of the 80s animated series that aired 83 to 85. This is a continuation of that story. So literally this first episode is supposed to pick up right where the last episode of the 85 version left off. He goes on to say, "We're playing with the original mythology and character and revisiting and digging deeper into some of the unresolved storylines." So he says, "Man is still sporting the iconic cross on his chest. So as to why it's been changed, we're not entirely sure. But he did state on Twitter for Revelation, I think that's a bit of a stretch because not many people really liked the battle armor version of He-Man. I don't have the battle armor version of Skeletor. Um, Even Skeletor had the exact same design on his chest. Um, so he said, we went for the H-looking logo for Masters of the Universe battle armor figure. The points in the H do give a Hordak feel, but as you can see in the image below, Hordak symbol is specifically a no insignia robbing here. And he was trying to make a joke of Batman, which kind of fell flat. Sorry, Kevin. Thank you, Max. You have a good day, sweetheart. Have a good one. And some guys here say, we're gonna shit all over the old show. I think it's partly that, and partly they're gonna do generally what these reboots always do, and they're just gonna pick little bits and pieces. Like as they've done with Star Wars, they're going to pick the bits that they think will fit into this new narrative and go with that. But that design at least is very, very odd. The cross on his chest is the iconic look that He-Man has. Chris says, if this is a continuation of the 83 storyline, why is Adam a thin teenager when lifting the power sword? Looks more like a continuation of the '09 story where Teela essentially despised Adam. Yeah, Teela was a really unpleasant character in that '09 story. She was really dismissive of Adam, even though he used to try his best. She really was not a nice character, so I've got a sneaking suspicion that maybe this Teela is going to be similar. She's going to be quite dismissive of him, because obviously nobody knows that He-Man is secret identity. They really must think fans are really dumb. People getting more aware with this bait and switch, even the normies. It does definitely seem to be that way. As I said, there's been more backlash than I expected and much, much quicker. People loved the initial trailer and they kind of paused and then kind of dug deeper into it. And that's I think that's where it's kind of fallen down for Netflix and for Kevin Smith. I've got to admit, the first time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. I was really pumped for it, and then you kind of pause it and then you break it down a little bit and you see what's actually going on in the trailer. You get past the flashy graphics and Bonnie Tyler yelling about needing a hero, and then you see what the story is actually going to be about. Hello, Cavatenio Cameraman Che. Good to see you. Purple. It cannot pick up after the original. I can explain one of the characters goes from a very light complexion to a very dark skin. That's what they say. That is literally from Kevin Smith himself. He says it picks up right where the 80s one ended, right from that last episode. Purple Valkyrie, we have to be thankful they didn't make He-Man into a skinny little guy. True. At least when we do see him, man, he's stacked and he looks like the most powerful man in the universe. But how much of him are we actually going to see in the series? And Captain Spire, welcome. Good to see you. He says, so again, they pulled a bait and switch. It looks that way, doesn't it? Unfortunately. I did have a really good comment as well from Chris. He mentioned that maybe because of Kevin Smith having a daughter, this is why he wants to bring out these powerful female role models for her. I would say I can definitely see that could be his intention, either consciously or subconsciously, but I think it's more the case that, we're pushing forward this idea that to be a hero, women have to be as strong and as powerful and as stacked as guys, and it's not the case. It really isn't. And hello, Amanda Gillingham. Hello, sweethearts. Good to see you. I hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a good one. Let me just grab this as well. So, JM Cruz says, wondering what is happening with Kevin Smith nowadays. He's become a full-on Hollywood propaganda pusher and kind of like Skeletor. No mean not to mean to insult, and I'm a Skeletor fan also. Kevin Smith hasn't been the same since he had that health scare, and then he kind of cut out sugar, and I think he went if not vegan, then he went vegetarian. I know he's gone very health conscious after he had the heart attack. But he does seem not to be very happy anymore. He certainly cries a lot. Oh, thank you, sweethearts. Good luck today. Good luck to you. Hope you get it. My fingers are crossed for you. He says, just wanted to stop by real quick and show support after a job interview. That is fantastic. So have a great stream. Thank you, sweetheart. You have a fantastic day. And again, my fingers are crossed for you. Oh my gosh, guys. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining me today. Um, just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents on this thing. I'm still looking forward to it. I still definitely want to watch the show. I definitely want to review it when it does come out. But it does look like we're gonna have a little bit of a disappointment on our hands. Um, but that's okay. I can always go back and watch the cartoon from the 80s, and I would highly recommend the one that came out in the mid 90s, of the mid zeros as well. I think it was '09, as Chris said. That was a really great reboot. And I even have a soft spot for the He-Man Adventures, the one where they were in space. Don't judge me. I really like He-Man. I can't help it. Hello, SJ Almighty. Welcome. Good to see you, sweetheart. And JPRPH1, thank you. Thank you very much. He sends us a 4.99 super chat and he says, cheers. Well, cheers to you too. Skull. Oh my gosh, guys. I hope you had a good day. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you everyone for your super chats and for your super stickers. You guys are fantastic as always. You were on point today, so huge thank you to the chat. You guys are the best. I will be back Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central, as ever, and no doubt I will see you guys on Loki's show or in somebody else's chat. So, guys, have a fantastic Monday. Take care, and I will see you all soon. Thank you. Mwah.